Hey everyone, it's Rodney from Bloke Support, and thank you for joining me for this special presentation. It's something I've been wanting to share with you for a while. Just before I start, I hope everyone can hear me well. It's just started really pouring down with rain outside here in Sydney, which is nice after a few days of 40 plus whatever degree heat. It does make it a bit hard to hear, so if you can't hear me, if you're having trouble, just mention it in the comments below and I will try and fix that. But in a week or so from now, it's Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day, as we know, is all about celebrating love and relationships and partners and all that sort of stuff. And so for the next week, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to put out a whole bunch of content about relationships and how you can fix it. And for anyone that knows me or has worked with me before, you'll know that I talk a lot in analogies, and it's very important because it helps people understand some of the concepts that I teach. And today I want to share with you a very big analogy that I have for relationships, and it's really how I work with relationships and how I help couples not only to fix their relationships, build, grow and maintain those relationships. And if you probably guessed from the title of the video, my analogy is that relationships are much like a house. And what I mean by that, like, in a relationship we have to build it. It just doesn't happen overnight. We have to build a relationship just like we have to build a house. And if we want our relationship to support a family, a couple and a lifestyle like a house, it has to be a strong house. It has to be a strong relationship. It can't fall down the first sign of trouble or a wind. And so it's a really useful analogy that I use to help couples really sort of help them to build a strong relationship or a strong house. And so before we can do anything, before we can put walls on or roofs on the house or pictures on the wall or whatever that crap, if we build a house just like building a relationship, the first thing we do is we need a strong and solid foundation. And so in a house, these are things like your floors and all that sort of stuff. And this is what we build the rest of the house on top of. And in a relationship, those foundations, they're three things. Okay, we need to get these three things right in a relationship first before we can build the other stuff on top of it. Otherwise, it's all going to come crumbling down. So the first foundation of our relationship is communication. Okay, communication is how we talk to one another, how we relate to one another. It's important because through communicating, this is how we're going to solve issues. This is how we're going to lead. This is how we're going to do a whole bunch of things in our relationship. And a lot of couples out there, they don't have that foundation down pat. They have really poor communication skills, and so they always end up fighting. A lot of fights is really just a lack of communication. That's all it is. So we need to develop those communicating skills really, really well before we can start to do any other fancy stuff with a relationship. Now, the second foundation for a really strong relationship is baggage. Baggage essentially is just the emotional stuff that's left over from living or life's experiences. We all have it. We can't get away from it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because this is what helps us learn things for the future. Okay, but a lot of people, they bring baggage from past relationships into this relationship. Have you ever had someone who has, they've been cheated on in the past, so then they're always accusing you or looking out for ways that you might be cheating? And this is because their baggage is getting in the way. So ideally, before we go into a new relationship, we need to put that baggage to rest. We need to sort that out first. It doesn't always happen like that. But that's right, you can sort it out whenever you are aware of it. But getting that baggage done and sorted, really vital for a solid foundation for a relationship. And the third piece for a really solid foundation in a relationship is all of your mindset issues. These are your attitudes, your beliefs, your expectations, power dynamics, all these things that really play an important part in building a solid, healthy relationship. Okay, so communication, baggage, mindset, these are the first three things that we need to get sorted in a relationship first. And quite often, if anyone's having an issue with their relationship, dead set, I'll tell you it is either one or combination of those things. We need to get them sorted first before we can move on to the next bit. If anyone's got any questions, just pop them in the comment section below and I will do my best to answer them. So once we get a really solid foundation going in our relationship, it's time to put on the walls, and these are the things that hold the rest of the house up. Okay, so the first wall that I want to talk about is respect. Respect is a high regard for a person, other person's feelings and needs and opinions, but it's also too a deep admiration for a person. It's both those things, and we need that in a relationship. If we don't have that respect for our partner, we're not going to be able to work with them. We're not going to be able to influence them, and it's going to make it very, very difficult. Saying that, the second wall that we need is needs. As humans, we all have needs. These are biological and psychological needs that we have, and we need those to be met in our relationship. Quite often people sacrifice their own needs for their partner or the entire family, but if we don't get those needs met, we're not going to grow. We're not going to be happy and satisfied. If we're not happy and satisfied in our relationship, it's not going to go very well. So we need to work on getting our own needs met, and then also to the needs of others within the relationship, whether it's your partner, whether it's your family, their family, whatever. Okay, so the next wall for our relationship is intimacy. And particularly if you've been married a long time, you've got other things, commitments, you've got kids, you've got work, all sorts of stuff, that intimacy kind of goes out the window. But it's really, really important. And a couple of years ago I did a episode of Bloke Support Podcast with my friend Isaiah, who is a relationship coach, and we spoke a lot about intimacy and why it's important for a relationship. That intimacy, and intimacy is not just sex, it is affection, it is allowing yourself to be vulnerable with your partner. This is very important for bonding with your partner, being united front, and also growing and maintaining that strong relationship. So intimacy is really important. And the fourth and final wall is trust. Trust is really important in a relationship because quite often we need to rely on our partner to do whatever. We need to be able to let go of the control and let them take over for a time. And if you don't trust your partner, that is not going to happen. Trust is really important. And if you discover yourself you're not trusting your partner, you need to get on top of that, because without trust, there can be no relationship. So, intimacy, needs, respect, and trust. These are the four walls of the relationship. And the final part of the relationship is the roof. Now, quite often when people are in relationship crisis, relationship turmoil, they'll try this last two things to fix it. But if you're in some sort of turmoil, you've got a problem with your walls and or your foundation, this will not work without the rest of that being done first. Once you have a solid foundation, once you've put up really strong walls, then you can try these last 2 points. This is what I like to call the roof: kindness and generosity. kindness and generosity will help to develop your partner's sense of self-esteem, feelings of love and admiration, and all the good stuff. But like I said, without the rest of it, you can't do the last two bits. It's just not going to work. Okay, so that's my analogy for relationships. And whenever I have couples join me for counseling or for help, this is what I work with. This is the model in which I work with. So if this sounds like something that you'd like to know more about, I can do more videos on each of this stuff later on. So just put your comments below if you've liked this stuff, you want to know more stuff. If you want me to give you some help with this, I'm available. All you need to do is visit www.blokesupport.com.au, and what you can do is go on and book a free 20-minute phone call with me. We have a talk about what's going on and see how we can apply this to your relationship. If you've got any other questions, please just leave them below and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a long one, it's been about 11 minutes so far, but it's really important analogy. And keep an eye out tomorrow. I've got a brand new episode of Bloke Support Podcast to share with you. It's all about how you can be more romantic, or how you can be romantic if you're one of those people that sort of seems to get it wrong. It's a brand new episode. Don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again later.